Kalimera, Kalispera, whatever time you are watching, this is Mappa. Now, before I introduce our guest, I told everyone from the start that we will be starting season 23-24 with a bang. I think we've done that so far with Basel Dradi, Rio Sotirio, two big names that we know about. But here's a big name, a gentleman that is known for his S&C skills, his statistical analysis, his ability to get the best out of players off the field. He is the founder and CEO of S11 Limited, and a gentleman who I am absolutely honored to have on this podcast. Not just what he did for my club Omonoia, but what he's been doing for Cypriot football and football in general. Leonidas Papadakis. Phile, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for your time and thank you for joining me.
Happy to be here. And
Phile,
thank you very much.
As I said, it's an honor to have you on, man, because everyone knows you. Everyone knows you. And I'm saying to myself, if I can get this guy on this podcast, there are levels.
Maybe we gain more fans.
Of course. You, me, I need more fans. More fans. You've got loads of fans. You've got too many. Well, Phile, before we talk about your time in Cyprus, can you give me a bit of background on your education, how you got into football and how you ended up doing what you're doing?
Okay, I started in the age of 17, being inside the sports educational studies in Athens, and by accident or by love, I went to football, because when I was younger, all team sports, any sport that had a ball and a team, I was inside there. Maybe it was volleyball, water polo, football, any handball, in all the sports. I enjoyed doing things all the time and playing with other kids, but all the time with a ball. When I started in an older age, being inside football industry, in the age of 30, and from then, and this was maybe luck for me, I started gaining promotions with the teams that I was all the time. And from the 4th division in Greece, we won championship, we went to 3rd division, I transferred to another team, we promoted to 2nd division, we won the championship, I went to the 1st division. So all these things were lessons for me, and this was a good thing for my experience. In about 2012, 2013, I was in Yanina, in Pas Yanina, and it was a team that it was an underdog. We were the first team that they said that we will relegate. But in this season, we achieved to go to the European qualification games inside the 5 best teams in Greece with a really, really small budget. And this changed my career. From this, I went outside. I worked to the Ukrainian league when it was a really powerful league. It was the 7th in the ranking of UEFA with Shakhtar and Dynamo Kiev. Really, really good teams that were achieving getting inside the 4 of the European qualification, the Championship League and the Europa League then. Really, really powerful teams and really strong league. After this, I went back to Greece. I went to Asteras Tripolis. We achieved again European qualifications, again as underdogs. We were relegating, and at the second round, we did almost we won all the same similar games as the team that won the league, and this gave us again European qualification ticket. And then I moved to Omonoia, your favorite team, and the team that I had a lot of happy things, happy moments, and especially with the fans, we have a really, really great touch. And you know what happened then. I stayed almost 3 years there. The first year was a difficult year, because they had the ownership change at the first year, and everything was in an unbalanced mode. But after this, we found our steps, and with the arrival of Henning Berg, everybody get together. We created a powerful staff, scientific support staff and coaching staff. And with the board and the fans, we achieved to win the league, but at the same time, and this was an honor for me, we achieved to be at the first time in the history of the team to the European stages. That Omonoia never did it before. And this came at the same year that we were going as underdogs for the title. We had the fourth or the fifth budget of the league, of the Cypriot league, but we achieved with a really small roster of players to win the title and to have all these amazing moments at the European games that we played. You know how we continued. Okay, I didn't agree with some things with the board about how we want to move on and how I had in my mind the continuousness of my department, the physical department. And I moved 1 year to Apoel and then now to Paphos. After this, as you know, as we discussed and as we said at the start, I will put my energy and my time to my company, the S11 Limited, and try to support clubs, teams, coaches, and having all the scientific support and players, all the scientific support that the football industry needs nowadays.
Well, Philip, I'm certain your company will be a huge success, not just because of your background, because of your experience, but I think your determination and your ability to think outside the box. I think that's what leaves you far ahead of everyone else. In all fairness, I'm pretty sure you'll be a success. But going back to, let's just say, between the time you started your role as an SNC coach right the way through before Omonoia. So let's say that period when you went to the various clubs. I know I speak to a lot of people in Cyprus that want to get involved in football, and they have maybe a defeatist attitude in the sense that, oh, we're from Cyprus, no one's going to take us serious. No one in Greece is going to take us serious. We want to be in England. We want to be in France. It's great to have dreams, but I think you're proof that you can make it in a pretty small environment compared to the bigger nations, so to speak. So was there any point where you felt, I can't do this, this isn't for me? Or were you just, I'm going to do this whether people like it or not?
Okay, it's a really difficult thing, and our nationality plays a role that it stops us. It don't opens the doors for us. I had a lot of discussions and with colleagues, and with the board, with boards and with teams, clubs. When they saw Greek or Cypriot nationality, even at the staffs, the clubs, the teams, everybody that's involved in football, they stopped us. They said, okay, you are lowest level. Okay, we don't know if you can achieve this. Can you do it or not? Are you good enough? Can you be competitive in a higher level? And we were laughing and saying with a lot of friends that imagine that if we had the Spanish nationality or Portuguese nationality, what we could achieve, and at the same time have the same knowledge and the same things. What we have and what we do, and this is the difference, and no one can understand this, especially in the Western Europe, is that we can adapt really fast because our daily routines are so tough, so difficult. We don't have the facilities, we don't have the personnel, we don't have a lot of crucial things to do our job. We have to invent, we have to work with our mind all the time, we have to create things all the time. So imagine guys that going out from Greece or Cyprus and moving up to England, that everything is ready, everything is packed, everything is clean, everything is organized in Germany, in Sweden, in Belgium, or everywhere. It's such an easy environment for us to do things and develop. The bad thing is that they don't trust us. And we need more time. The good thing is that as the time passed, the younger ages, not only my age and me, but the younger ages that are coming from behind, the new wave, tries to be competitive, and they are competitive. And all the other guys says, okay, what happens? Cyprus is such a small country. How they can have 3 or 4 teams at the European stages? How can they achieve this thing? Or we have Greek teams that they play to the final 8 or the final 4 of the Europa or the Conference League. How they can achieve this? How they do this thing? They have such financial problems. We don't think they have the knowledge to do, but how they achieve this? And now they try to open the doors, and especially the players that they are moving out from the boards, that they're doing quite well. They are a good thing to do, because they will bring more guys in and more coaches outside from all specificities, and they will bring more players out, and clubs that will go outside, they say, oh, they are from Cyprus, oh, they are from Greece, they are good competitive teams, be careful of these teams, they are fighting, they are doing things. It's difficult. It was difficult. I faced it because of what I told you, the nationality. But now it's starting to change.
The next question is leading on to the talent and the ability, and also your work, in the sense that if you look at Croatia, for example, and this is a conversation I had a few days ago with a friend, they have around 3 million people in the country, and yet they continue to produce incredible players, incredible coaches, incredible SNC staff, whatever. Exactly. But then you have Cyprus and Greece, and look, Greece is a huge country, and we know about the history of the football clubs there. But it's almost as if most of the players don't move forward. It's like the coaches don't move forward. Do you think it's a mentality thing?
Yes,
as well as
this is number one. This is number one. Mentality is the major problem that we have in these countries, because we have a lot of talent, but we get inside the maintenance mode. So we say that we are good enough. We don't need to try more and reach our potentials. This is number one. Now it's starting to change from the younger ages, the younger guys. But the second major thing, that major problem, is the organization. We are nations that we do things, but not organized. We do things individually. We don't do things all together. Having a plan, sitting down, doing things all together. Imagine that Portugal is 10 millions. It's like Greece. See how many coaches are Portuguese. It's like an export product for Portugal. Why they did this thing? Okay, the start, as everybody knows, was with Mourinho. But why this happened? Because there was a university there and 2-3 smart guys that they created a periodization model of training process and an approach. They tried to build it and say, this is the Portuguese way. And this expanded to all the world. All together, they sit down and they did this thing. And they started working in one model. I said this to one big coach of Greece, big coach of a Greek coach that he worked in Western Europe. He played in a top level, etc. They said to him, okay, let's sit down. I have the knowledge to do it in the physicality way, but in the performance too. You will put your technical, tactical aspects, and we will start creating some blocks of training and try to present it to the other Greek coaches and to the federation and say, we need to be in one mode altogether and try to support each other and try to expand it to the whole Europe. And he said, maybe tomorrow, okay, let's go for a coffee now, maybe tomorrow. But when he gets inside the job, maybe in 2 hours, he can do the job of 10 hours of a German coach. This is the difference. We have talent and we spend it in the air. We don't organize it, we don't plan it to put it in a way. The second thing is that our countries, and I know it because I worked in 3 big clubs in Cyprus, and I know, believe me, because I have friends in all the clubs in Cyprus, the boards don't appreciate and respect the locals. But the locals are in a very good level. But because he's Cypriot, let's bring the Spanish guy. Let's trust the Croatian guy. Why? I cannot understand these things. Who are you that you can test my knowledge? You don't have the knowledge to do these things. But you do it. We don't have recruitment responsibles in the clubs, that they know the job and they choose wisely. And they put guys and local guys inside there that they can help them, and they are half the price or 1/3 of the price. And they prefer to pay because he's coming from the Spanish school, so he knows more. Yes, why?
Philip, do you know the irony about the whole situation, what you just mentioned? I'm going to mention Omonoia because let's move over to Omonoia now, because I've got a few things to ask about this one. But the irony of what you just said, if you look at Omonioia's youth academy and the players that have come through, one player was sold to Sporting Kansas for over $1 million.
Exactly.
Roughly, yeah? Since when have Omonoia ever sold a non-Cypriot player for $1 million? So they want to bring in the foreign players.
And see, because I know the players, I had them, these players, we speak about journeys, and they had these players from 16 years old. They've grown up with me. I'm like, okay, a father for them. I look them like my kids.
Of course.
Because I had them for 3 years and they were men in my hands. See how many players of the Cypriots, when the potato was hot, they were the guys that they were putting the ball inside the net.
Yeah.
Or they were the guys that were the key players for the crucial game. They were the guys, not the guys that they brought from outside and the big transfers that they make. But these Cypriot guys, and if I tell you the contracts, you will fall down from your chair. And they don't speak, and they try their best.
For the Cypriot players, I know about the contracts. It's minimum wage. Not even that.
Exactly.
Not even that. I know.
Exactly. And they don't speak, they work, and whenever the team asks them, they are the front line. Front line of the team.
Yep. And I think that also contributes to their determination to want to leave Cyprus, because they're fed up with it. They try. And
they have a bad mentality too, because I try to speak to them, and sometimes even the boards and the clubs think that I am an enemy, but I'm not an enemy. I say to these guys, you have to leave as soon as possible.
Yep.
The time that you see that you are trying to break the glass and trying to reach your potentials and your limits, you have to go. So this will motivate you more. Don't stack up. Don't get inside the maintenance mode that I told you before. Don't say that it's good for you to have a nation of 1 million to celebrate for you. Go outside and make Europe celebrate for you. You can do it. Break the limits. Go away. And let the club win. Have a profit too from the transfers that you make. But all these players, young players that have talent, when they break the glass and they get inside the start 11, making good performances and all these things, they have to try to leave Cyprus. And the same with the clubs. They need to try to sell these players, to have profit and continue this thing. And this is how all this product, the Cypriot football, will move to the next level.
You know, I don't...
In Croatia, because you gave me an example, sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
How many players are playing at the Croatian league of the starting 11 of the national team of Croatia?
Not many, if any.
If any.
Not many, if any. Yeah, you're right. But see, the thing is, I could then argue something else, and I'll be opening another can of worms here. The first thing I will say is, I don't want to mention any names because it wouldn't be fair, but there are a lot of coaches in Cyprus. Like, the ones that I know are Omonoia anyway. There's a lot of them. And even some that have since left who deserve so much better. They deserve so much better for the hours that they put in, for the work that they do. They're underappreciated. I'm sure it's the same at many clubs in Cyprus. Many clubs.
It happens. It happens. But this is football. This is football. It's so you need to try all the time. Staffs need to try all the time, and boards need to take decisions all the time.
Of course. And this leads me on to my next question. And people are going to get fed up with me for asking this because I always discuss this on this podcast. I did an interview yesterday with a Leyton Orient striker. He plays League 2. They got promoted. He's playing in the first team. Scored 9 or 10 goals last season. He represented Cyprus at under 21 level. Ruel Sodiriou. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. And I always tried to promote the Cypriots in the UK, the Cypriots in America, in Australia, because we have a big community. Same with the Greeks as well. Don't get me wrong.
Yes,
Greek community
yes,
throughout the
yes.
world. But with Cyprus being an island of 1 million people, we have talented players, no doubt about it. You know, Sacha, Hamburg, Aguli, etc., whoever.
A lot.
But we have talented players in the UK that can play for Cyprus. We have players in Arsenal's academy, Brighton's academy, West Ham's academy. Marcus Edwards is half Cypriot. He can play for the national team.
Yes.
So why aren't GOP looking abroad? In Australia, United States, wherever there's Cypriot players, why are they too focused on inside Cyprus? Do you know?
You speak about teams?
No, well, teams and the national team and even GOP. Because I don't see many British-based players in the under-21s. I see Oka, I see Tate Trusty, I see a few others, but there's no emphasis on our ones in the UK or in Australia because we have talented players.
Yes, but this depends on the selections of each coach and how he can get in touch with them and see them and monitor how they do and what they do all the time. And I don't think that this is a matter of the federation. I don't think that there is any.
It's not a priority. It's not a priority. Okay. Okay. So how can they progress?
Probably. But these are decisions that are made, okay, for the players, and sometimes maybe it sounds bad, but I don't think it's true that you say that there are decisions that are made and somebody else is involved. And there are times that the head coaches of the national teams, they have to monitor more carefully around the world.
Yeah.
And choose wisely about this. It's not about a plan or restrictions or something that happens. I don't think.
Okay. Well, let's go back to Omonoia then. Sorry to do this, but it was a successful time. You know, we won the league under Henning Berg. Okay, we finished top during COVID. We won the league under Berg, which was a fantastic season, fantastic achievement. And then, obviously, we got to Europa League, beat Partizan Belgrade in the penalty shootout. Ernest Asante gave me his shirt. Lovely guy. I gave it to my nephew. I shouldn't have done it, but I did anyway. I'm stupid. But so
it will happen again. Be patient.
Yeah, it will
happen.
Fingers crossed. So it was a successful period under Henning Berg, and all of a sudden, you're gone. All of a sudden, you're gone. And I'll be honest with you. That summer you left, I had people messaging me, "What's going to happen? What's going to happen?" Because I know how important an S&C role is. I know that you have a bond with the players because what you discuss with the players, if they're on the treatment table or if they're just recovering, you're their mentor, effectively. You're the shoulder to cry on. They tell you their problems. They tell you how they're feeling, all the psychological stuff. So you deal with more than just the scientific side. You go with that side. So when you left, people were saying to me, "What's going to happen?" I said, "This is going to hurt us because the relationship that Leonidas has with the players, you can't buy. And it takes ages to develop trust with someone." So are you able to tell us or elaborate more on what happened?
Yes, it's not the problem. It's not a secret and it's not a problem. These are professional matters. It's not a problem. And now, especially now that I don't have any problems to discuss about this. The sad thing is what you told me now. You told me a lot of aspects of my involvement with the team. And you know what is the sad thing? That there were a lot of key members inside the team that they did not understand what you said now, that you were out of the team. So the first thing is the lack of knowledge that there was at the team in a way that they cannot measure the way that you affect a team or not. And that's why a lot of the decisions that are made are wrong. The second thing, the why I did it is because I discussed it in a really high level. I don't want to say the names, but I was in a table to be convinced to change my mind. And they said to me, "Please, next year we have to be all together, blah, blah, blah." All these things. And I said, "Okay, listen, This is my approach to football. A big club, if you see the history, and you have to learn from history. If you see how the big clubs acted in their leagues, in the small to medium leagues, I don't speak about the Premier League, but I speak about the Serbian League, the Croatian League, the Greek League, the Czech League. The teams that were in front at the momentum that they were in front, when all their opponents are dead, and imagine that we won the league, Apoel was crushed, Apollon lost his coach after 3-4 years and they tried to find their steps. Anorthosis was with the ups and downs that they had all the time. And there were no opponents inside there. And I said to the guys at the highest level, this is your momentum. So the next 10 years to be only you. This is your momentum. Boost it now. Boost the product, the club, not the product. Boost the club now. Because with the gains that you will have the next year, nobody else can reach you. They will not have any the money and the knowledge to do these things. So the same thing happened with Olympiacos in Greece. The same thing happened with Red Star in Serbia. The same thing happened with Spartak Prague in Czech. The same thing happened in all the small to medium leagues. In their momentum, the big clubs of the league, the big clubs, okay, the big clubs of the Cypriot league are Omonoia and Apoel. The others they are in a second mode, second gear.
That's changing. That's changing.
Titles, and you need time to gain titles to reach these two teams. You need decades. It's not easy. You need decades to change this.
Well, look, in terms of a fan base, I agree. But if you look at other clubs,
fun and titles. This is how clubs are big, from the fans and the titles. And to reach these two teams, all the other teams needs minimum a decade.
I will argue a little bit with that, Phile, because let's say, for example, Aris get into the Champions League group stages and they get further. For example, I'm just saying hypothetically, if they get to the semi-finals, I know it's unrealistic, but stranger things have happened in football. I'm not saying it will happen, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that one season, Aris getting into the semi-finals of the Champions League has eclipsed everyone in the history of Cypriot football. Okay. So everyone will know Aris.
Okay. Yes, this doesn't make them a big team. Leicester did this in Premier League. Are they a big team?
No, but they didn't build on it.
No, they built. They stayed for about 4 to 5 years at the top ranking table, at the top 6, for 5 to 6 years after they won the league. They played in Champions League stages. They played in Europa League stages. They moved further in Europe. They were all the time competitive. Now they relegated again because this is
decisions.
This is the will. You have to stay. Maintenance is not about 5 years or 4 years. It's about decades.
Of course.
It's difficult to do it. And that's why I said that now it's the momentum for Omonoia. The time is now. Boost it, and you will disappear from the second. There will not be a second guy. The answers was we are okay as we are. Why changing a thing that is successful?
And this is a problem because I said exactly the same thing.
It's the maintenance mode, as I told you before. It's the maintenance mode. It's not the reaching my potentials. It's not the mode.
Of course not.
I try to reach my potentials. It's the mode. I'm okay as I am. You don't search all the time. You don't have the flame inside you all the time to do things, to make it better, and fail, and do it again. And fail and do it again and try more until the time that you will be the one.
The thing is, I know about the facilities at the training ground. How anyone can work. How anyone can work
like this. No one.
It's beyond me. So, and I think the other factor which we did not talk about, the important thing during the pandemic, something that we've never experienced in our lifetime anyway. You were still there to help push the club to win the title through the questionable vaccine, which I'm not going to go into, through the government push, through the media, through all the scaremongering, through everything, people being worried, the lockdowns, the curfews, everything, you were still there. And especially during the lockdowns when you guys were doing the online training sessions and all that kind of stuff.
How you know all this? How you know all these details?
Because I know football. I know football. Is it football?
At the time, especially at the first year, the second year that we round up as first at the league table and it stopped. The time that me and the department that I was running, the physical department and the medical department, how we worked these 2 to 3 months was writing it down on a book. It was amazing. The support of the scientific staff to the players daily when everything was closed, and no one, imagine that I had players from other rivals and they were begging, please, Leo, can you give me a program? Can I be inside the group too? Can we do this or that? I was laughing. I said, okay, well, I cannot. if they hear that we help other guys, they will kill us. but it was amazing, the time. And imagine that I was working, the hours that I was working was maybe the same or more, because we had double, triple groups, Zoom sessions, GPS data that we uploaded to their mobile phones. They were running at the streets. I was going out to buy a coffee with the masks and all these things. They said, oh, Jordi Gomez ran now from the street down, and he was running like crazy at the streets alone. I said, okay, he's doing his program. It was amazing time. It's an experience.
Of course. Okay. And you know, I was lucky to be in Cyprus October 2020 or 2021 when we played Bark. No, it was PSV Eindhoven at home.
Yes.
When Jordi scored the goal from the halfway line. And I was in Cyprus, and for me to come from the UK where everything was locked down, it was 2 meters, and Cyprus was even more strict. It was, you know, you have to wear a mask everywhere you go. It was even, curfews, even more. I mean, the UK people.
It was very difficult for us. It was very difficult for us. Very difficult for us.
So
and imagine now that you said PSV, just to say a detail, at the second game, it was an amazing team. At the game that we played in Holland, at the first half, they destroyed us. And I remember Dionis that he played. And I look out the GPSs, and at the halftime, he was 7.5 kilometers at the halftime. And I ran to Berg, suppose he will die. But they were an amazing team. Amazing team.
Unbelievable. So you mentioned Johnny's and his stamina levels. Clearly, he's got bags of energy.
Yes.
What kind of statistics surprised you most about the players? Not just at Omonoia, about Abuo and Buffer. Were there any players that stood out when it comes to their fitness or their energy levels? Because we've seen, look, no disrespect, right? But when you left Omonoia, it wasn't a surprise that players were dropping like flies. I know that extra intensity was put in gym sessions, the volume, the load, all of that adds up. Muscular injuries, were common. But in terms of statistically, which player would you look at and think he is a god? Like Ronaldo, for example. But the players that you've worked with.
Okay, there are a lot of players. Imagine that now that we speak with Cypriot players, imagine that Kakouli's speed is amazing. He's inside the top 10 in Europe. Top 10 in Europe in speed. He is amazing. He's powerful. He has an explosiveness and speed that it's you cannot imagine. And this is a good thing about stamina and endurance. There were a lot of players, probably mostly midfield players, not from Omonoia, because Omonoia played with experienced players more. Okay, a monster in physicality is Kousulos. A monster in physicality is Kousulos, that he can play, he gives his heart in the pitch, and if you say to him, you have to play, okay, sorry, you play today, but we have to play tomorrow, he will say, yes, I will play. He is a monster. in physicality, but there were and foreigners that they had mostly speed and explosiveness, the foreigners, and some of the players, and here in Paphos, some midfielders that they are amazing in stamina. They are in the top of the players, top skills of the players in stamina. Like Kane or Hotsko, the midfielders that we had, that they ran 12 to 13 kilometers in every game. And they had really, really good recoveries. So they could play 48 to 72 hours again. Okay, there are a lot of players, more or less. We try to, what you said, and this is the crucial thing, what you said is about managing the training loads mostly, and less making training sessions that are good for the eye. That's what I said. Don't replicate trainings from the YouTube that they look nice and do this or that.
Rondos.
Training, yes, do training sessions that they will actually help the players to be better and what they miss and what they want, so they can have their next step on this. And I was more of a guy that I tried with simple steps to build the players and move them to the next stage, not doing fancy drills, so I can be really attractive to the eye or the fans. But this is how we, in the end, this is what we live. The performance is for the players. The players' performance is what they say, okay, Leonidas is a good fitness coach, or Nicolas is a good analysis coach, or Antonis is a good head coach. It's the performance of the players in the end. It's not the fancy drills that you make and how you talk and if you are a happy guy or if you shout or your attitude and all these things. It's about all about performance. We need to find the keys, the points, the missing points that each and every player has, because everybody has missing points, and fill the gaps that are inside there, so you help them to fix their step and move in front. If they have higher potentials. If not, you're not a god.
Philip, I need to ask two key questions with regards to the clubs that you've coached in general. Now, Omonoia, Apoel, European football. We saw AEK this season do so well in the Prodathlima. Then they got to the latter stages of the Conference League after playing Europa League, Champions League qualifiers. The burnout was there to see. The injuries were there to see.
It was obvious. It was obvious.
Yeah. So how can you manage that? Because I know with Omonoia, we went through a bad patch in October, November time, and then we bounced back after dropping out of Europe. How do you manage that?
Look, when we started doing this thing, and what we said with Mr. Berg is we had a two-gear team. Two-gears team, and this is why, because we had experienced players. Half of the team was experienced and half of the team was young and talented, and we needed to bring the balance inside there. The second thing is that we put a priority to qualify to the stages in summer. So we said we will play with the best players at the European qualifications, and I explained to Mr. Berg that if we do this and you continue doing this at the first round, at the second round, we will end up like AEK this year. And he listened to it. And we made the plan B, and the plan B was big rotations. But he's a coach that he's never afraid. You cannot understand what a coach Mr. Berg is. He don't care if 20,000 people swear to him or shouts or he don't care. He will do what he thinks.
United. He's dealt with Ferguson. I think he is.
Yes. If he thinks this is the correct thing to do, he don't care about anyone else. And luckily, I convinced him that if we do this, we will end up at the second round and at the playoffs, and we will gather our pieces from the pitch, because I don't have the time to build up the young talented 10 guys and be at the same balance mode with experienced players and try, and with the experienced players, to take all these loads that from the early stages of the summer. And we imagine that we played 3 extra times in summer, and we were qualified to the stages. 3 extra times in 3 games.
That's right.
This was crazy. And he made big rotations. He had a lot of argues inside the team and outside the team, you know it, and from the fans and from inside the team. But he did what he thought it was correct. And this came up to a really good second round and to playoffs that we ran over the opponents. Because we were, in a way, as the time passed, the younger players become better and the older players were fresh.
Of course.
And we killed them till the end of the season. It's not, these are decisions that a head coach has to take, and he needs to have big
personality.
Cojones. Yes, cojones.
That's it. The next question leads on to Apoel. Now, as you know, I'm not their biggest fan, clearly, but you know, you went to that you went to that club with, you know, undoubtedly huge reputation, big players. You know, that summer they signed Ogriasvili, they signed Kvili Dayan.
Best players of the league, as they thought. They thought that the players that were better last season, we will buy them.
Yep.
This is their thought. Yes, I know.
And Bursa was head coach. I think he's a top-notch coach. Really do.
It was not.
I really do.
Bursa was it? He started the first game. They sacked him, and Sofronis Augusti came, and I came with Sofronis after 1 week.
Okay, no, I didn't know.
I was working with Sofronis.
Okay, fair enough. That's an interesting one, because I thought, for some reason, I thought you went before Bursa got sacked. Okay, fine, fair enough. Because it was the 4-0 loss against Buffalo, and then that's when it kind of went downhill.
After the first game, it was a national team break, and they called me. The president, Prodromos, called me, and he said, "Come down, we need you." Okay. And I came to the team.
Okay, I'm just going to ask it. What is the president like? Because I know he loves the club. Okay, he's blatantly an Apoel fan. He loves the club. He's highly respected by many. He's disliked by many. It's almost as if a lot of decisions have been made that have affected the club clearly off the field. I'm not going to go into the financial side, but on the field, they haven't clicked. They went close last season. They went close the year before. But
we were last season. We were this way, this close to make the biggest comeback in the Cypriot League ever.
It was 9 points. 9 points, yeah.
We closed the gap of 14, 15 points. When we were at the team, we were at the last positions. And with Sofronis, we were at the last positions. And we started building the team. And at the second round, the team did an amazing run-up. And we closed a huge gap, over 12 points, 13 points. And we were 1 game away from winning the league. And it's the game when we lost from Apollon. If we won Apollon, we were taking the title. I think 2 games before the end.
2 games ago, yeah. Because I think you had Anorthosis next, and then the last.
Yes, and then, we were fucked up mentally. We could not stand in our feet. After that, we lost this game, and I think that we deserved more from this game. But okay, this is my opinion. Anyway, this is okay. Well, you asked about the president of Apoel, and in my mind, I did not I didn't meet a lot of Apoel fans, but I think that he is the biggest fan of the team. His love for the team, his life is the team. Just to say it, his life is the team. I don't know, about reputations, what we think he did, what we heard, and all these things. I don't want
conjecture.
To get inside
Conjecture.
This,
we use that
I
word.
don't want to get inside these discussions. I don't care. It's not my job, and everybody writes his own history. I speak about the human, the person. He's a huge lover, a huge fan maybe the biggest fan of the team. He may give his life for the team. This is the sense that he left. He left me. And he's a guy that he tried, because I had 2 years contract with Hapoel. I had a 2-year contract with Hapoel, and I broke it down. I broke it down. I did not ask for any salaries or anything. I just wanted to live as a friend. And I broke it down on summer because I disagreed with some of his decisions that we spoke about at a coffee that we had in summer in the presence of 2 other guys about the future of Hapoel. And I said my thoughts. He said his thoughts. And they were different. And I said, okay, I don't want to be part of the team anymore, because if I don't feel that I'm bonded to this, I'm devoted to this thing, I will not do my job 100%. It's better for me to leave.
That's understandable. And to be honest, again, that season, I don't remember Aboa having many injuries with players. And I compare it to this season just gone, where, again, people were dropping like flies. And I'm thinking, at what point do you say it's got to do with the training session, surely, or the amount of load, or the amount of running, that even the pitches, even the state of the pitches inside?
Yes. Even the pitches plays a role, but the preparation phases plays a huge role, and the training load management plays a huge role. Plus their life, the life of the players, but the daily life, their routines. To be true, and with Hapoel, we had some injuries. Okay, it was in a managed, we could manage it, but we had some injuries. We came up, and with Sophronis, we came up in September, after the first game that they played, official game that they played. We tried to put the players in the routine that we wanted. And then we had in December a coronavirus crash to the team. And I had almost all the team for 2.5 months with coronavirus. Some guys were coming, some guys were going, some guys were coming, some guys were going. And I remember I had triple groups. There was about a month that everybody in Archangelos had the virus. Everybody. Assistant coaches, kitmen, board, players, everyone.
Ball boys that can't throw the ball on the pitch.
Everyone. And it was only me and Sophronis that we stayed out of the virus. We didn't have the virus. It was for a period.
Sophronis a cat. He doesn't get the COVID. Just doesn't get
it. Maybe. And we were going there, making double or triple groups for a period. And then some assistant coaches were coming, helping. And then another guy from the staff was out. And then some other players. And then some other were coming. But there I gave my 1,000% of my knowledge inside there. And I said to Prodromos, in a way, when we talked, remember last season, the season that we won the league, last season that coronavirus hit Archangelos again. What you did after December? He brought the guy from Ireland, the coach from Ireland, and all these things.
Nick McCarthy.
Exactly. The team went out of the first 6 because of the virus. They were crushed out, but they had a really, really different approach of what we did. And I said to Prodromos, this year, after the coronavirus hit us in the second round, what we did, he didn't speak. And Prodromos said to me, and I said, just to understand, because you are a president, just to understand the employers, what we did, what we try to do, how we try to bring the balance, because training is a living thing. It changes every minute inside the field. It's not written in books. It's not about, or else everybody will do the same. Something comes up. You need to change fast. You need to adapt. You need to push. You need to hold back. You need to do things all the time. And this is what a lot of people from the board that they're giving their money, they cannot understand. They think that if I buy the best players, or if I do this or if I do that, I will win the title. It's not so easy, or everybody would do this thing.
For sure. Now, the final football related question I have to ask is of your time at Buffer. And the question that people are going to say to me, oh, why did you ask this question instead of that question? The one I want to know for this particular podcast, I look at your situation at Omonoia and Apoel and the restrictions, let's just use that word. And then you go to Buffer and you look at their training facilities. And from what I understand and from what I've seen, they are levels ahead of most clubs, if not all the clubs in Cyprus. So are you going in there like a kid in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where you've got all the sweets and all the chocolates, all the good stuff? Well, not good stuff, but good for the, I don't know, for the sugar rush, I guess. So are you going in there looking at Buffer's facility saying, I can really do something with this?
They have good facilities. They are not top-level facilities. They are good facilities.
Really? Okay.
No, they are not top-level facilities. If you go to European clubs, you see that there's a big difference. But
for Cyprus? For Cyprus?
For Cyprus, they are top.
Top, okay.
For Cyprus, they are top. For Cyprus. To work in Cyprus. But if you want to break the board, you have to do more than the maintenance mode that I told you. But they are in an okay mode. They try to do things. They try to give you all the equipment to work. They try to. They don't do. They try to.
Well, you say they try because they're worried about the financial element, or is it more because it's the same culture as the other clubs?
It's not about finances. It's about knowledge.
Right. Okay. So it's
not about finances. They can if they want, they can create a small
lab. They can do a laboratory and create.
They can create a small Man United in the island. They can do this if they want.
Of course. So
to do it, and this is what everybody that listens us has to understand: is it's not about money. It's about money, but it's about knowledge too.
I think it's perfect because it goes back round to the beginning to when we were talking about mentality. We were talking about Omonoia and Apoel, the mentality, the clubs in Cyprus, the mentality, and then you got Buffer, who have got different owners. We won't go into that, but it's a different culture from where they come from.
Yes,
but you'd think they would have a different mentality. Don't get me wrong; their marketing is perfect. Their social media is perfect. Aris are very close. I think Aris and Buffer are the same for me.
Not in marketing and in the marketing. I think they are okay. I think that Aris at this moment is the team that is making the correct moves to develop the club.
Yeah,
it's not to develop a club. You don't need to have good marketing, top marketing. You need to have good marketing. You need to have top decisions to help the field so you can move to the next stage. This is what will make you make the next stage and not Facebook.
For sure. So let's go one more thing before, because God, my goodness, we've almost done an hour, Phile. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Who will listen to this? It's too long.
No, trust me, people will listen. I'll make sure they listen.
Okay, trust you.
The final thing is obviously about your company. Can you tell us about it? Tell us your aims, your ambitions, long term. Obviously, don't give me any secrets because I don't want people to copy your ideas. But what are the plans?
I had it at the back of my head for about a decade. That I started putting it on a paper, all my ideas, a scientific support company that will help all the parts that are involved in football: clubs, individuals, players, coaches, scientific supporting staff, in all the ways that they want to be helped by training sessions, educational seminars, digital marketing, in all the aspects. And this was an idea. And I said I will leave this when I finish with the clubs, because the time will pass. And I'm a guy that I want to live with my family and my kids, and I don't want to be around the world. But when the time comes, I will devote all my energy to this idea. Unfortunately, this came now because at the time that I took the decision to finish with Paphos, after the proposal that they made me, and I said no, they made the proposal because I waited them too long, and they made the proposal at the 30th of June. And at the 30th of June, all the teams are closed with their staffs. The teams, the clubs that are at the European qualification games, they started preparations. And now I'm here without a club because everybody's filled up and everybody's running. And I said, okay, maybe a bad thing or a decision that I took will turn up to a good thing. And I said to myself, maybe now it's the time to push a little bit the S11 limited and try to spend all my energy to this thing and try to develop all these parts so I can bring all the scientific support that I can, me and my colleagues, because I have guys behind me, scientists behind me in all the positions that they can hold in teams and clubs, that we can create a supporting tool for the boards, the clubs, the players, the coaches, in all the ways, all the aspects. And I think I like it a lot. It's a time to do it.
Do you have any trips to Sweden planned?
No. we speak with Henning. Okay, we speak with Henning.
I didn't want to say.
No. But we speak with Henning, and I said to him, no, I said the truth. I said, okay, listen, my guy and my kid now, my son is 4 to 5.
Oh, nice.
I want him,
good age.
And I want him to be in a Greek school. And
That's
he said, okay, I understand it. I appreciate it. But I said to him, if you take a national team, I can come because it's a part-time job. It's not a full-time job. So maybe we can work something out.
Maybe. You never know. You never know. Well, Philip, do you know what? I need to thank you for two things. First of all, for appearing on this podcast and taking the time. As I said, you're a very busy guy. You got a lot going on in your life. And if there's anything I can do to help you or collaborate with you, it'll be an absolute honor. And the second thing I need to thank you for, and this is on behalf of a lot of Omonoia fans. I know people are going to say, oh, whatever, this isn't an Omonoia pod, but I'm an Omonoia fan. I'm just going to say thank you for your hard work and efforts in the time where the club was in a dark period, where I know players weren't getting paid on time, where there was so much uncertainty around the club. You stuck through it. You worked hard with the youngsters, and I'm pretty certain most of the youngsters who you work with appreciate everything that you've done, and you played a massive part in their development. I'd like to thank you for the memories. I'd like to thank you for just giving, even the podcast that I do, giving it that push, because I think Omonia's success helped grow the platform, and you were an integral part of it. So I can't thank you enough. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm really, really happy with this talk. And maybe now that the time came, I was ready to talk really easy about all these things, all these details that maybe when you are in a club or you are an employer somewhere, I cannot talk about this, sorry, I cannot talk about that.
Restrictions,
but I don't want to keep them inside me. I will not die by keeping all these details inside me. So I'm really, really happy with all this conversation. And I'm really happy with all the fans. Okay, of course, for all the other teams and especially for Omonia fans that they gave me a huge support, and it was a massive thing that happened. And I think it's something that came in from me and from them, and I really appreciate it. And I'm really I feel lucky that I had all these good times, good things, and celebrations, and all this, and have really, really close friends from Omonia.
Well, like Philip, I know you're going to be a success regardless of where you go or what you do, because I've seen your track record. And this is the thing, you can't buy experience, and you can't, these are things that you learn from day to day, from when you get up, from the discipline, from, brushing your teeth in the morning to doing the standard things. This is something that you've done, you've lived, breathed it. This is a massive part of your life. And I don't think this is the end for you. In fact, I think it's the end of the beginning. It's the end of the beginning.
Nice.
So, some I keep saying this. Some say they go the fastest, but you go the furthest. That's all that matters. So there you go. Boys and girls, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back very, very soon. Don't forget to hit us up on Twitter at This Is Mappa, with an Instagram at This Is Mappa. I'm going to put all of Leonidas' Instagram and all of his social media, his company, all of that is in the description. And yeah, we'll be back very, very soon. So until next time, adios.